Though they can be awe-inspiring pieces of art in their own right, the job of a movie trailer is, first and foremost, to sell you a movie. I know, I'm a genius. They are, by their very nature, an exercise in manipulation. As a result, they typically try and cram in the most eye-popping, emotional, or scary moments they have to offer. The stuff that will instantly hook today's share-happy online culture and prompt people to talk with their friends and hashtag the hell out of it. But on occasion, that initial buzz can give way to disappointment when the movie itself is finally released, because at that point, most of us have already seen all the cool bits in the pre-release trailers and we've been fed a steady diet of digestible, entertaining 2-minute slices of footage for months. It's quite hard to separate the adrenaline rush a trailer can give you from the slower pace of the film itself, and over the years, plenty of films have suffered due to the lofty expectations created by their marketing campaigns, but at that point, they already have our money. These trailers did their job, and they did it well, whipping us into a frenzy of anticipation for the masterpiece that was about to unfold. When will we ever learn? I'm Oliver from WhatCulture.com, and this is 7 awesome trailers that tricked us into seeing awful movies. Number 7, Sucker Punch. After his stylish, eye-catching work on 300, Watchmen, and The Legend of the Guardians, Zack Snyder's next project was anticipated by many. That project was Sucker Punch, which was marketed as a teenage boy's fever dream that was somehow also a story of female empowerment, all dressed up in the graphic novel visual stylings that had been so successful for Snyder in the past. Sucker Punch's theatrical trailer brought the explosions, stunts, and impressive action, but it also looked like it was attempting to rectify one of the major complaints people had about Snyder's movies in the past: not enough focus on the story. But while those steampunk-infused shootouts and that dark narrative looked like a perfect mix in the trailer, the film itself was a total mess. Snyder had again delivered style over substance. The action scenes were excessive, indulgent, and relentless, and the constantly blaring soundtrack made Sucker Punch feel like an extended music video. The drama slowly being drowned out by samurai giants, robots, and fire-breathing dragons. And these elements looked cool in the trailer when seen in smaller doses, but in reality, it was a sucker punch to the face. And no, not in a good way. In the way where you feel attacked, and possibly a little bit sick afterwards. On the whole, Sucker Punch was a colossal disappointment. What should have been a tale about a young prisoner finding her inner strength was actually just an excuse to dress a group of attractive women in skimpy outfits and make them shoot stuff. Should have seen that coming. Number 6, Transformers: The Last Knight. It was foolish to expect anything other than a bloated, boring mess from Transformers: The Last Knight, considering the many bloated, boring sequels Michael Bay had already delivered, but its trailer teased a new vibe for the decade-old Transformers series. The teaser didn't start off with quips, action, or explosions, like we all expected. Instead, it opened with an ominous voiceover by Sir Anthony Hopkins, no less, striking images of Transformers throughout history, and a melancholic, piano-based score. Oh my goodness. We've turned a corner here. This looks great, right? When the trailer's action did start, it wasn't fast-paced or choppily edited either. It was slower, giving us time to soak in the incredible camera work that Bay, for all his flaws, is so bloody good at. Mark Wahlberg also didn't appear until over a minute into the trailer, as though Paramount was signaling a move away from the immense stupidity of Transformers: Age of Extinction. Everything seemed great, but then the movie happened. And it was the same stupid, incoherent, cluttered Transformers flick we'd been watching for 10 years. The Last Night might even be the worst in the series, and its poor box office and abysmal critic ratings actively back up that notion. Number 5, Alexander. Historical epics were all the rage in the early aughties. Troy, Kingdom of Heaven, King Arthur, and Alexander looked like it might be the best. Teasing a sword slasher that mixed the massive battles of Lord of the Rings with the betrayals, backstabbings, and drama of something like Gladiator, Alexander seemed like a surefire hit, and its meaty thrill ride of a trailer was one hell of a watch. There was blood, there were insane battle sequences, there were twists, there were turns. Angelina Jolie at the height of her stardom looked like a scene stealer. The production design looked gorgeous in its scope, and veterans like Anthony Hopkins gave the movie a sense of prestige, as though it was destined to be nothing short of a modern classic. Hang on, I'm getting déjà vu. Unfortunately, Alexander was nothing of the sort. Jolie drowned the movie in cheese, and the incredible production design was unable to mask how flat-out boring the whole thing was. It was a plodding mess, and because of its seemingly endless use of dialogue and exposition, it felt more like a historical soap opera or History Channel reenactment, not exactly Lawrence of Arabia. Alexander was so bad that Colin Farrell nearly quit acting because of it. And though that's sad to think about, it tells you all you need to know about the film's quality. Number 4, it's Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. The trailer for Indiana Jones's fourth adventure could have literally consisted of Harrison Ford taking a dump, and we'd have all have still gone to see the movie. However, it did not. And instead, the marketing team smartly chose to build their trailer around the fact that this was the long-awaited return of one of the most beloved characters of all time. It's light on plot and new information, but that's okay. It sends you on a trip down memory lane by showing you clips of the first 3 movies, the nostalgia ratcheting up before you finally catch a glimpse of Indy, complete with his signature brown hat. Then, that iconic score kicks in as Indy pulls out his whip, rattles off a one-liner, and punches a bad guy in the face, the trailer teasing a rollicking, globe-trotting adventure that made it seem like Indy hadn't aged a day since we last saw him. Everyone had their fingers crossed for Crystal Skull, but painfully, on this occasion, Spielberg didn't match up to his former glories. Filled with too many eye-rolling moments to count, the CGI gopher and that Tarzan-inspired monkey-swinging scene were particularly egregious, although I personally find that the fridge sequence is funny and on brand. Just me? Yeah, I thought so. Why is that? It's funny. Open your eyes, people! Its extraterrestrial story, inspired by Roswell and befitting of the 1950s setting, came off as a departure for audiences who were used to the MacGuffins more rooted in history and myth. Indy's fourth outing was unfortunately not worth the long wait we'd endured to get it. Thankfully, Harrison Ford is set to return to the role for one last go-around, and we can only hope that the team have been listening to audiences and fans in the 9 years since this monstrosity hit the cinemas. Number 3, 10,000 BC. Though Roland Emmerich had lost some of his shine after the atrocious Godzilla and the middling The Day After Tomorrow, 10,000 BC looked like a departure for the director that was easy to be excited about. After helming plenty of blockbusters set in the modern day, this trip to the distant past looked like a fresh start for the man, giving him a chance to muster some of that heart he found on Independence Day and transplant it into an exciting new setting that big-budget movies don't really explore. The movie's trailer teased a creature feature with an emotionally weighty story and a new action hero for audiences to embrace, complete with a pulse-pounding score and several gratuitous shots of giant beasts attacking humans. That's always a win. 10,000 BC looked like it contained that beating heart that had been missing from Emmerich's movies for a while, but it never delivered on that. While the director had shifted his focus to the prehistoric era, 10,000 BC was still the same loud, dumb blockbuster that we've now come to expect from him. The movie lacked substance and instead felt like a string of loosely connected creature encounters, with no engaging threads pulling those scenes together. Characters were cardboard, CGI was less than impressive, and the story was weak, and 10,000 BC confirmed what many had started to suspect, that Independence Day was a fluke. Number 2, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Before its release, Batman v Superman was one of the most highly anticipated blockbusters of all time. Bringing together two of the most popular heroes on the planet, it promised the showdown to end all showdowns, with Henry Cavill's powerful Man of Steel facing off against Ben Affleck's grizzled, world-weary Dark Knight. Warner Brothers had been handling cinema's most popular superheroes for decades. This was its chance to show Marvel how much they'd learned. Its Comic-Con trailer was an absolute tour de force, teasing plenty of Bats v Supes action and a peppering of psychological drama. Channeling Watchmen, the film looked like a thoughtful examination of vigilantism, covered in the shiny exterior of a pulse-pounding summer blockbuster, and Zack Snyder's eye for beautiful visuals. In a way, the movie could never have lived up to the enormous expectations we all had for it, but Batman v Superman even failed to please at a basic level. It's a tonal mess, with severe pacing and story issues. The movie made a lot of money, but didn't resonate with audiences or critics like Warner Brothers had hoped. Its depressingly bleak story and dull, momentum-killing subplots, hello, Lois and the Bullet, sapping the film of any fun and turning what should have been a crowd-pleaser into a pretentious bore. Before release, it was really hard not to get overexcited, but sadly, it wasn't to be. The title fight was great when it eventually came, but otherwise, Batman v Superman was overlong, joyless, and meandering. And probably largely responsible for the disappointing box office of the Justice League. At number 1, Prometheus. The trailer for Prometheus might be one of the greatest blockbuster previews of all time, starting with a brief overview of the film's story before spiraling into dark, violent sci-fi territory. The beauty of Prometheus' marketing was that it got you excited even if you had no idea that this was connected to Alien. The trailer was stunning to look at. Picturesque mountains, waterfalls, the detailed designs of the ships and machinery, and it posed numerous questions that demanded answers. What did the crew encounter in those caves? What was Shaw wrong about? What's the deal with that gooey stuff? The addition of a wailing sound in the final third of the trailer was an ingenious one that raises the hairs on the back of your neck. The choice to rapidly flash each image on and off the screen, giving you just enough to keep you interested, but not so much that it spoils what's actually going on. Brilliant. Almost worthy of Alien's iconic teaser trailer from back in the 80s. But the film itself, while visually breathtaking, was one giant tease. Almost an extended version of this trailer. It never made clear exactly what the engineers were up to, and though we all expected a prequel to Alien, Prometheus never connected to the original 1979 masterpiece in a satisfying manner. It didn't help that the film's script was stupid beyond belief. Supposedly smart scientists will just pet any clearly dangerous alien creatures, and there's a twist about Charlize Theron's character that comes out of nowhere, and then proceeds to go nowhere as well. In the end, Prometheus was a black hole of unanswered questions and plot holes. Had it not been hyped up as Ridley Scott's return to the franchise he created, we may have been able to forgive certain flaws, but as it stands, you're better off watching the trailer than watching the final movie.